Whenever a new technology disrupts a creative industry, the immediate reaction is usually panic. We assume the machine is going to replace the artist. But this tension between human imagination and mechanical automation is actually a historical cycle. Take the 1890s film pioneer George Méliès. Instead of seeing the motion picture camera as a threat to traditional live performance, he embraced it. Before film, Méliès was a stage illusionist. His ability to tell magical stories was strictly bound by the physical limitations of a theater stage. You can only hide so much with trapdoors and smoke. When he adopted the early film camera, he used its mechanical processes, like double exposures and substitution splices, to execute tricks that were previously impossible. Compare his narrative approach to modern attractions like a 6D cinema. Those environments offer intense sensory stimulation, shaking seats, wind, and water sprays, but they provide almost zero actual storytelling. Méliès succeeded because he treated the camera as a utilitarian device. It handled the rote mechanics of the illusion, which left his mind entirely free to focus on crafting the narrative. That same dynamic defines the modern writer's room today, as artificial intelligence algorithms rapidly integrate into the editing process. The marketing promises behind AI editing tools are compelling. They offer instantaneous, flawless grammar correction for a fraction of a penny per page. By comparison, traditional human editors typically charge between 1 and 3 cents per word, and a standard manuscript requires 7 to 10 days of turnaround time. This creates a difficult choice. Writers have to decide between burning thousands of dollars on human review for a basic draft or relying on an algorithm and risking a perfectly polite, homogenized manuscript. Selecting the wrong edit pack through your specific project means you either sacrifice your financial budget or the unique soul of your work. To navigate this, we have to evaluate what AI actually does. At its core, an AI editor acts as a high-speed sieve for raw text. It executes specific tasks flawlessly. It eliminates syntax errors, enforces formatting consistency across hundreds of pages, and performs automated fact-checking in seconds. We can call this capability mechanical efficiency. It represents the maximum value an algorithm brings to your workflow. However, AI has severe blind spots. It cannot grasp emotional subtleties, cultural context, or the precise rhythm and pacing of a scene. Relying entirely on these tools forces your text toward a mathematical average. It smooths out idiosyncratic word choices, resulting in a safe, sterile authorial voice. You get perfect mechanical grammar, but you sacrifice the specific style and rhythm that make a voice recognizable. A human editor serves a completely different function. They operate as a structural partner in the creative process, rather than a glorified spell checker. They execute tasks that require lived experience, deep structural critique, nuanced character evaluation, and tone preservation. This diagram shows the difference between the two approaches. We call the human approach contextual perception. While the AI performs a fast, flat surface scan, the human editor evaluates a deep, interwoven web of narrative connections. Contextual perception is the only mechanism that actively protects and elevates a writer's unique voice throughout a complex document. The trade-off here is strict. Acquiring that level of human insight requires a significant financial budget and introduces weeks of publishing delays. Human editors provide irreplaceable narrative meaning, but creators pay a massive premium in time and capital for that perception. The optimal workflow merges both of these strengths into what we can call the Méliès Hybrid Protocol. Phase 1 utilizes AI as the initial pass. You deploy the algorithm to aggressively scrub typos, align your formatting, and check for plagiarism. In Phase 2, you take that clean, mechanically sterile draft and hand it over to a human professional. The financial return on this protocol is measurable. You ensure the human editor wastes absolutely 0 build hours correcting misplaced commas or basic grammar. On the creative side, 100% of those expensive human hours are spent on high-level narrative strategy and emotional resonance. This workflow perfectly mirrors the Méliès method. You use the technology to handle the rote mechanics, so the human can focus strictly on the magic. This chart maps out exactly how to choose your path. Your editing choice must be dictated by your specific project's goal, not by technological hype. We can define our first profile as the high-volume optimizer. These are marketers, bloggers, and technical writers producing massive quantities of informational text. Paying a human editor for this type of content yields a negative return on investment. If the primary goal is speed and straightforward information delivery, these creators should rely exclusively on AI. Our second profile is the prestige creator. This group includes novelists, memoirists, and academics writing complex, emotionally driven narratives. For these creators, relying solely on AI backfires. When the algorithm strips away emotional texture to meet a grammatical standard, it removes the very thing the audience is there for. Finally, high-stakes, well-funded projects should deploy the hybrid protocol, here in the top right quadrant, maximizing both turnaround speed and narrative soul. Identifying where your project lands on this matrix is the only way to guarantee a positive return on your editing investment. Ultimately, higher technological resolution and faster processing power do not automatically generate a better story. There is no reason to fear the rise of AI algorithms, provided you master them as the specialized mechanical tools they actually are. The early cinematic pioneers established the blueprint over a century ago. They didn't let new machines replace them. They used them to extend the limits of what a single artist could create. By delegating the rote mechanics of grammar and formatting to an algorithm, you reclaim your time to focus on the intent, meaning, and connection that an algorithm cannot replicate.